Good morning. It is Saturday, I think August 23rd. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I know. I didn't realize how exhausted I was. I was just running myself ragged, doing all the things. For a little while, my daughter was here from Australia. So, for about 3 weeks, and in that little bit of time that she was here, I had started a new position. I was training, I was running, I didn't realize how tired I was. So you probably see behind me some nice trees and stuff. I have a weekend job. Um, and I even took time off of this for a while because I just was so finished. There was no two ways about that. I had to realized that I needed to rest. I needed to have time off from all the extra things that I felt, before were needed in my life. And I love this little weekend gig. Like, I absolutely love it. It gives me a chance not only to do these things, but to spend some time outside of my normal life. And I think that's something that's very important that we ignore is that weekend jobs are not only like a job, a source of an extra income. They're also something that takes us outside of our normal life, and I don't mean like working life. I just mean like my job is in an office, right? My new position is in an office. And it's a position I've wanted for many years because I always thought, how could I help people on a different level? How could I be of more service to my community? How could I just be more productive in my life? And it always comes back to serving your community. I don't care if it's a volunteer position or a paid position. You're serving your community in the best way you not only are trained, but in here. How are you how are you feeling? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? So for me, this is something I've wanted to do for quite a while. And I wasn't sure if I was even going to keep this weekend job, but it's been so long since I've been here. And today I was actually able to get here. I felt exhausted this morning. I didn't want to get up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday and, of course, do it again tomorrow on a Sunday. However, I really enjoy it. And it's something that I feel is important for me to get outside of my normal life. Because on the weekends that I'm not here, I have my granddaughter. And I spend a lot of time with her because I didn't have that. I didn't have a grandparent who loved me just for me, who cherished me just for me, who treasured me just for me. I think I had to learn how to do that for myself. And I had to learn how to be kind to myself. I had to learn how to be generous to myself without feeling guilty. I had to just keep myself aware that, I'm generous to everyone else without any kind of worry about, I don't have guilt. I feel like it makes me feel fulfilled and happy to give and give and give. And then I thought to myself, well, what about for you? What about for myself? What do I give to me without feeling guilty? Why would I not? Where did that happen? How did that happen? Where I felt guilty taking care of myself and saying, yeah, I need to rest. I need some time off. Where did it happen that it was okay for me to just keep giving to everyone else but not to myself? So I really had to take some time to become aware of my thought processes and why I thought like that. And a big part of that was that I never had a grandparent who really loved me, who really cherished me, who really just loved me for being. I had to do to get, all the oh, you're such a good girl, you're such a smart girl. I had to do. I couldn't just be. So I think there's a big part of me that realized at some point that I was always looking for these big, acts of grandeur, of love, of kindness, of you're so good, I'm so proud of you, outside of myself. And I think that's probably normal, or is the norm for many people. And obviously, I really believe I'm not alone on that. However, I had to admit that I needed to rest. I had to admit that I needed to be kinder to myself. I had to admit that as much compliments and love that I can give to others, I have to learn to give that to myself. So there's just something inside of many of us, I believe, that we never felt that I'm treasured, I'm loved just for being me. And I think as a child that leaves such a huge impact on your thought processes, your psyche, as people in like those kind of psychiatric and psychological worlds would use, that it makes such an impression that we become addicted to that people pleasing kind of thing, right? Where we get that exaltation that you're so smart, you're such a good girl, look at how amazingly talented you are. But we had to do to get that. With my granddaughter, I tell her like you're just beautiful, and I thank you for picking me to be your aksuta, which in my language is your grandma. And I say, I love you just for being you. You're a beautiful person. And I'm not talking about what you look like, I'm talking about who you are inside. So I say these kind of things to her now, like she's almost 6, so I don't know if it really makes sense. And I say those kind of things to my other granddaughter who's 11. I tell her, you're beautiful just inside. It's not even what you look like. You're my beauty. And it's like I'm very aware that I do that, and maybe sometimes, my kids think it's a little bit too much. And all of these things now I'm seeing about, as grandparents, we get a second chance. We get a second chance to love our children in their childhood again, and it's really true on a lot of levels. So that awareness that I've had over time, coming from a family of very, I think, abused women, very traumatized women. So they didn't know how to do the things I'm talking about. So how could they love me? How could they be aware that I needed that as a child, because they were never given that as a child, right? So in understanding where they came from, in understanding who they are and why they were how they are, I really feel that has made me so much more aware of how I treat my grandchildren. I rarely ever raise my voice to my grandchildren. I'm quite the confidant for my grandchildren. I always hold their attention with me and their time with me very precious. It's not something I would give up quickly or easily. I will fight for that. And just because not only do they deserve a better aksuta and a good grandma and a good family life when they're with us as a family, they just deserve that for being a person, for being here, for as they say, creator, we choose our families when we're still with creator before we come into this realm. And I'm grateful that my grandchildren, my granddaughters have chosen me, my children, to come into our family, and they make our life so much better, I think, well, from my perspective, because as their grandmother, it's just such a joy to have them, and not have to be their parent, not have to discipline, not have to point out every little thing. And it's true, as you age, everything changes. Your energy level changes, your thought processes change, your attention to what I believed was such a big deal when my kids were little is nothing now. It's like absolutely like there's this meme going around where when I was a kid, um, my mom was yelling at me for building like a blanket tent in our living room, and now they show a big bouncy castle in the living room and saying, the grandparents saying to the grandchild, is this good enough for you? So it's kind of like that. I mean, my granddaughter, both my granddaughters are only children, and the one that lives here is we have a very large home where the family lives, and she brings every blanket and pillow and chair and doll and toy and everything into this larger part of the home, and she makes this big forts, these big blanket forts, and she crawls through them, and for her it's such a joy. And sometimes I walk in, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? She's like, Oxuta, it's a fort, climb to my fort. And I'm like, honey, I cannot get down on the floor and do that. Everything hurts me. So if I got down on the floor like that and crawled through this fort, it probably would take me 20 minutes to get up off the floor. So that's another thing I'm going to talk about when I finish with this part. So becoming aware of why we are the way we are has a lot to do with the people who are in our lives as children, I believe. So there's just so much that now I say, oh my God, my grandmother used to say that to me. If I hear somebody like being really mean to their kid or swearing at them or whatever, I go like, I remember my grandmother being like that to me. My grandmothers were very difficult, very traumatized women, I believe, very abused women. So they didn't know how. They brought up their kids that way, so they didn't know how to be like, I guess, better people. It wasn't a thought process for them. I mean, I'm talking, they were old ladies, when I was 10 and 5. So it's just such an awareness that I have, and I'm grateful I have it, because it made me a better Aksuta. It makes me a better grandma, to be so much more aware of how I was as a parent to my kids, and I am able to see the difference in how I am with my grandchildren now. It's just it's like night and day. And I think there was a point in time when my children went like, what the, like, how come she's so good with them? But it's because I'm older, I'm wiser, I understand more, I'm aware of more. Believe me, I've made the apologies to my children for the, for who I was as their mother when they were growing up. It was difficult for them. I was very much my father, very rigid, very disciplinarian, very loud, and there's a part of me, a big part of me, that will always regret that point of time when I should have been enjoying my children. However, I do also realize I was so stressed. I was in school, I was running businesses, I was teaching aerobics classes, I was doing all of these things. And I didn't have the time to enjoy the time. I didn't have that luxury, and it's unfortunate because now, as much as I'm still busy, but I rotate my life around my family. I don't make them rotate their life around me. So it's almost a relief to be where I am, to have the understanding that I have, to be aware as much as I'm aware now, And I understand everybody's got their stuff going on, and everybody has their traumas, and everybody has their. Sometimes we just need to hate on other people. But I truly believe that if we're hating on other people in our lives, then there's a little bit of us that's hating on ourselves. So maybe just put that in a back pocket for a little while and think about it for a bit. So I think this was just about for me to say, I'm so aware, and I hope you are too, and I hope you leave go of all of the maybe neglect and the harshness of your childhood, because my father was terrible. My mother tried her damnedest to be great, and no matter what she did, she was punished for it. And be better to yourself. Be more aware of yourself. It's going to make you a better person, a better parent, sister, uncle, grandparent, whatever, aunt, grandpa, whatever. Just be more aware of yourself, and before you like trigger something triggers you to like really blurt something out, just take a kind of a step and a breath and go, oh, how did that make me feel when I was a kid and somebody said something just demeaning or belittling, right? So have a better life, have a better older adulthood, have a better adulthood than you did a childhood, than you did a parenthood, if you can. It makes such a difference in becoming a better person for yourself and for everyone around you, to be able to go, okay, we're at a different phase, and it's okay. We're all going to be okay. And you're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. Have a great, beautiful, beautiful weekend. I love you all. And for me, that's part of my living my dream, is just to be a better me. And I hope you become a better you in whatever way that means for you. It's important. You're important. And I'm grateful you're here. And no matter what, everyone is precious. Everyone is a treasure. And I'm grateful for you every second of every day. If you like my channel, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and share my videos. I'm going to keep putting them out a little bit more now. I took a little bit of a hiatus, and I'm grateful for you following me back. Leave a comment under the video if you'd like, a kind one. Anything that, I hope I helped you in some way. I hope you're living your dream on whatever little tiny level that means for you. For me, waking up to the sunshine this morning was part of my dream. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Creator. I got to see another sunrise. Have a great weekend. Bye.